Hey, what's up? It's Case with Everyday Masters. I know, dude, it's been like a month since I made a video. The main reason is, like, my last video with Rich Lopp, I had so many sessions after that video that I literally just didn't have time to make any videos for like 2 weeks. And then I had like an accident. I'm not sure if it was like a hiccup sneeze at the same time, but I cracked a tooth, and I've always been like really insecure about my teeth. I don't know, just one of my insecurities. And I am for sure not going to make a video looking like Jim Carrey in Dumb and Dumber. So I went to the dentist. Dude gave me this crazy price. And then there was like no guarantees. He was like, dude, I don't know, man. If you're just going to replace like one tooth, he goes, I really suggest you replace all four of your front teeth, or put crowns on them, not replace them, but just put crowns on them. And he gave me this insane price. And I know that down in Cancun, they do actually probably at least as good, if not better work for like 1/4 the price. So I went down to Cancun, I got my teeth fixed. Ironically enough, I just got them fixed basically yesterday, and as my wife and my kids picked me up at the airport, I hadn't spoke to anybody really. And as I'm in the car on the way home, I'm thinking, dude, am I lisping? Like, I kept carrying my S like, and I'm like, oh my God, dude, if these new teeth create a lisp in me, dude, like, ah. And then come to find out that I guess that's normal. It takes the body a few days to get used to your new arrangement in your mouth. So hopefully I won't be lisping in like a few days. But I just had a session with Elaine Knox, and she is super cool, man. She is absolutely the epitome of what's happening on the planet with like these volunteers, these wonders, starseeds, and how rapidly we are waking up. And I don't know, the whole conversation just hit. You hear that? I can feel like this lisp. Anyway, the whole conversation just hit all my fun buttons. So I am just gonna post the whole entire talk we had. So I hope you enjoy it. I have tons of videos that I will be making. I just wasn't going to make a video with cracked tooth, so there's no way. But I have many plans for future videos. So hopefully, maybe I'll be making a video every 3 days. We'll see. 3 days. Every 3 days, I'm going to make a video. Okay, man. I hope you enjoy this video, and I will be seeing you guys in the field soon for the monthly tune-up group session. And okay, man. I hope you're doing great. Peace. Hear that? Peace, man.
Yeah, it's a hot day. I'm hanging in the sunshine. You should hit me with the splash gun so I cool down. Won't you come on over? We can party till the sun's down. Baby, let me buy you a drink while we're dancing a blink. I could go for some Queen Bee too. Macy's going.
Hi, how are you?
I'm doing good, Elaine. How are you doing?
Good. I was having some issues. It was so strange. I tried to go in and it was all, my face was in slow motion. That's really strange looking. So I got back out and I thought, oh, let's try this again. And it worked.
Cool.
Good to see you.
Yeah, good to see you too. We had a session like a month ago, or right? Like
Couple weeks ago.
Couple weeks ago. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
but it wasn't video, it was audio, right?
Right.
It was like a 30-minute, but we ended up talking forever. Is that correct?
Yeah.
It
was a healing, and it was interesting because what I felt during it was this side of me was very heavy. It was like I was laying in the bed and it just felt like something was pressing. This side was fine. But the one thing that happened halfway through where my hands came up and I started, I don't know if you can see me, but I started doing this like right at my rib cage, like at my liver and my spleen.
Oh, yeah.
And it was like, and I could feel the energy just swirling. And I was like, why is this happening? And then all of a sudden they just went, and it's interesting because I do Qigong, okay, and medical, and liver is anger and the virtue is benevolence, and spleen is worry and the virtue is trust, like trust yourself, trust the universe. So I thought it was very interesting that's where my hands went, and it was cool, and I could really feel it, and I can feel the frequencies.
Nice.
It's not strong, but like when I go like that, like I can feel it in my hands, like on.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, this is real. And I had to laugh last night. Last night I was at a Qigong moving meditation group, and there was 8 of us, and it was intense. I mean,
was it more intense than usual?
Yes.
Yes, that's what's going to happen. Yeah.
But it was intense for everybody there. People started crying.
Yeah.
There was people, and these women I've done it with forever.
Yeah,
and when
you're different now.
Heart, it's amazing. And when it's weird, this one woman never would have much to say to me. Like I always thought she didn't like me. It was just she's just quiet. And last night she came up and she's like, "How are you doing?" I'm like, "I'm good." And it was interesting. And she goes, "We never get to talk." And I said, "No, where everybody sort of goes their own way." But it was interesting when we were working on the heart. Okay. Mm-hmm. That's when everybody got emotional. And it was like, I saw people wiping their eyes and I think too, it's what's going on in the world. People are just so scared, and I'm not scared. And it sort of scares me that I'm not scared.
No, don't be scared that you're not scared. I'm not scared at all. I mean, 15, 20 years ago, if everything that was going on with the COVID and the wars and like everything, I would be so invested into that, and fear of the future for my children. You know what I mean? Like I would have been like, oh my God, what kind of world are we leaving our children? Mm-hmm. It's really hard to describe why, but that's gone. Like I just, all that's gone. And I don't know. I think that we're on this planet to help people move into that state of consciousness where we're not totally engulfed and drowning in this 3D world.
And another thing I did, and after I did it, I saw one of your videos where you said, well, here's the deal. When you are on your way, or however you put it, you said, you won't be able to go back to that. Well, I left my church.
Yeah.
And I sent an email to my pastor and just said that, look, I'm going a different direction, because I felt like a hypocrite, because they don't believe in energy. Energy's evil. I don't need to be part of that. They're good people.
That's crazy. Yeah.
They're good people. They're loving people. I mean, he wrote back and he goes, well, Carol and I are just heartbroken, and they took it sort of personally. I said, please don't take this personally. This has nothing to do. This is between God and I. And I said, I'm going in a different direction. Yeah. I'm being called strongly. So
I no longer need a middleman.
Yeah. So yes. And he wrote back and he goes, okay, God bless you. And you can come back anytime. And I said, I may just stop in sometime and see you guys. So, I did that because I knew I couldn't go back in there. The last time I was there, he's a very good speaker, but he was talking about hell, and I'm just like, I can't do this. hell is real and da 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 da. And I'm like, I had this strong urge to say, no, it's not.
Yeah, yeah,
I mean, I was brought up Catholic, for God's sake. So I know all about the guilt and shame.
Yeah, totally. You Catholics are experts on the guilt.
And my mother used that as a discipline, guilt and shame a child until you feel so bad about yourself and God's going to get you. I mean, and finally, when I got to be like a teenager, I remember one time I got mad at my mom and she was using that. And it's weird because I was always a thorn in her side. I mean, those are her words. You are a thorn in my side. And there were 7 of us. And I've always been more different. And she was always on me. But anyway, I remember one time I said to her, and these were the words, I couldn't believe it came out. It came out of my mouth and I was like, oh my God, I just said that to my mother. I went, well, you know what, Mom, fuck the church. And she goes, what? And I'm like, I'm sorry, I said the F word, but I'm not going to church anymore. I was 18 and I said, I'm not going. I'm done. I'm done. And so I remember one time as a child, this is no lie. I got communion, and you know how kids are. And there was this thing where you weren't supposed to touch the host. Well, I'm in 2nd grade, and I went like this. And got it was stuck to the roof of my mouth and I touched it. Well, I sweat. I mean, I fretted about it for weeks.
Oh my God.
I went to confession and told this priest, I'll never forget him. He was a little Italian. His name was Father Pasca. He was a really cool priest. And I told him that. He goes, and he knew me and he knew my voice. You're in one of those little things, but you can't see each other. But he goes, Elaine, this is Elaine, right? And I'm like, yes, Father. And he goes, that is complete nonsense. Don't you lose any sleep over touching the host. Honey, have you been fretting over this? And I'm like, yes. I thought I was going to hell. And when I left, he came out of the confessional and hugged me, and all these people were in line to go. And he probably, and they probably thought, what did she do?
What did she do? Oh, watch out for Elaine. She's crazy. Yeah, that's hilarious.
He was so cool. And you know what? He's not a priest anymore. 5 years later, he left the priesthood. So I was like, well, Father Pasca knew what was up. He used to come down and play. He used to play football with my brothers, and they would all have these big football games. We had a field across from our house. So he was just a cool guy. And I just, these memories are coming back to me. Like all this clarity is coming back to me.
Beautiful.
Like you're okay. You're not crazy and you're not. And
that's interesting you said that, because I've been having memories come back to me that I haven't thought of for 40 years.
I know.
And they're so clear. And it just makes me realize that, man, we don't forget anything. It's just tucked away. It's just, my parents were not religious. They were super beautiful, nice people. But my dad's mom she went to church, and she went to church every week. And she would take my dad until he was probably like 14. And he noticed that his dad never went to church. And his dad was, building houses and stuff on the weekends. But one day he said to his dad, he was like, Dad, how come you never go to church with us? His dad was like, well, Raj, some people need it and some people don't. And I just happen to be one of those people that don't. And my dad never went to church again. And I just love that story because I don't know. It's just, it just makes me laugh.
Well, my mother came through. I have a medium friend. We talked about this. And my mother came through one time, and she said, it was something about, I was hanging clothes out one time in my old house I lived at, had a clothesline, and I'd hang out clothes. Well, this beautiful cardinal came and sat like right where I'm hanging, and just sat there and sang and looked at me. And then my mom had passed, and she loved cardinals. And I'm like, Mom, is that you? You know, what? And then one time there was a really bad storm, and I had this big maple tree right out my back door. And it was it was huge. It's probably 100 years old. And it came up and it went out. And in the center, it was a bad storm. Like it was one of those, is this a tornado or what's going on?
Yeah.
There was a cardinal sitting in the, and it really wasn't protected. And it looked like where it was sitting, the wind wasn't blowing. And it was looking right at me at the window. And I'm like, Mom, you know, so at this one, she came through in a reading I had, and I said, Mom, are you the cardinal that's hanging around me? And she came right back, like Terry, the medium, went, I'm not God. Real. And she goes, and that's the way she said it too. I'm not God. And I said, okay, so I guess it's not you, that somebody's visiting me. Somebody's watching over me. And then I said, hey, Mom, when you got on the other side, is Catholicism the only true religion, or what's up with that? And she came back and went, smart ass. And I was like, yes,
that's my mom. That's beautiful.
Yeah.
That's beautiful.
It was great, because I thought when she got on the other side, I bet she was like, wow, I
think
wasted that whole life on that, you know.
Yeah.
She was devout, rosaries every day, you know, and it was like, wow.
That's beautiful. I think a lot of people do that when they transition home. They're like, oh my God.
Yeah. Do I got to do this again?
How did I get suckered into that? Like, but you know, we do what we're taught, you know, by the time I think it was, the Hasidic Jews, they said that you give me the first 7 years and you can take them, but we have them for life. And that's what happens. You start taking your kids to church.
Yeah.
And that's it. They're going to follow that programming until finally something in life it forces them to realize, wait a second, this is,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was interesting. I watched a Greg Braden video yesterday, and it was very interesting. The title of it was, and it was an interesting video for him, I thought. The title of it was, who is trying to change the history of our civilization, and why are they doing it?
Mm-hmm.
It was so interesting.
Yeah.
And I had a synchronicity during it, because I watched it, and I had been thinking about this show that was on the History Channel called The Bible Code. It was really good. I think it was three 2 hours.
Brilliant.
It's good.
Yeah, it's really good.
And he brought it up. He goes, any of you ever seen The Bible Code? And I'm like, yes, you know, so that freaked me out when I saw The Bible Code.
Yeah,
and another thing I started doing this week, I had to laugh. I would not watch Ancient Aliens. I loved it. I would not watch it because I felt it went against believing in Christ, right? Seriously.
I know, man.
So now I'm binge watching when it's on. I'm like, oh my God. And what they talk about last night, they actually had this egg that had DNA on it, and that they found it was, and they're like, how can this be DNA when it's found all this? And then, you know, and actually Greg Braden was on that one and talked about it and said, you know, this stuff is real, folks, whether you want to believe it or not, you know.
I think Ancient Aliens is a wonderful show to get people, to introduce people to bigger concepts than, you know, science or religion.
Because I mean, I started when they were talking about Christ, and they were saying that, you know, was he the Son of God, or was he just here to show us how this is how we can live? And they, you know, they quoted the Bible, you know, you can do what I do. You know, how many
Totally.
times did he say that? And
Yeah.
you can do exactly what I do. And the apostles did. I mean, after he died, some people say he was crucified, but he was taken down and he wasn't dead or something.
Mhm.
I don't know. Back then, they pretty much were crucified to kill you, I think.
Yeah.
I mean, what a way to go. Oh my goodness. And that just always blows my mind that he did absolutely nothing and they nailed him, you know?
Yeah.
But anyway, so I've had synchronicities with numbers 888, 777, 333, 1111, and then I see 1212 a lot, and I see 10, 11, but it's every day, like lots of them, lots of them, and I'm like, what is going on?
Oh, you're right on track, man. You're right at the right place at the right time.
Yeah. I saw 1212 the other day and I was like, well, I looked it up. What's that mean? And it said, this is an urge. Your ascended masters are urging you to change the way you think, traditional beliefs. And I'm like, and I looked up and I'm like, get out of here.
That's perfect for you.
And I just started laughing. And somebody said to me the other day, my neighbor said, Elaine, you just seem so happy. Not that you seemed miserable before, but you just seem happy. And I said, I'm in a good space. I mean, I don't have anything to complain about, you know? And being gratitude is such a big thing. And I do my gratitude every day for you know, everything, you know, that I got this far in my life, you know, and then I'm finally waking up. That is amazing to me.
Beautiful.
You know? Yeah. Beautiful. Yeah. You know, and sometimes a memory of an old friend of mine came back. Now this was like 25, maybe 30 years ago. I worked with her and she had found God and had never been, you know, so she was into God and she lived her beliefs, you know what I mean? And she said, I don't know why, but she said, I just started packing up a bunch of stuff. And I said, why? And she said, because I think I'm moving. I don't know why, but I'm being pushed to do this. Well, she ended up moving, but she said, and I remember she said to me, she goes, the closer you get to God, the closer that relationship gets, the more you're going to feel like you're losing your mind, but you're not.
Yeah. That's, you know, really, that's
because she goes, rationality tells you, who told you to pack up, you know? Well, of course. She was being pushed to do that. And she did it. And she ended up getting a place on the Eastern Shore and she's loving life. But, you know, it's like, wow, you know, it's amazing. I'm so glad I came across your channel because I saw you and I was like, I gotta talk to this guy. I want to talk to him. And I'm so glad I did because it's just been because I'm gonna do the reconnection or the quantum, what is it? Quantum calibration.
Calibration. Yeah.
So you're doing those remote?
You know, and like I said, I did the personal reconnections for 9 years and I kept having people, hey man, do this to me. You know, I want this remotely. And it's so, I knew that when I would give them a normal session that we were connecting. I mean, there was no doubt in my mind, like zero doubt. We're all connected in this field. And I don't know. I had contemplated doing them remotely for a while and then COVID hit. And finally I was just like, this doesn't make any sense. I mean, this person is reaching out for this connection. Are you telling me that the universe is saying, no, you got to take off work. You got to get an airplane ticket. You got to get an Airbnb. You got to get a rental car. You got to go out there and you got to, I was like, that just doesn't make sense. I mean, I love being in person because there is absolutely something to our energies mixing and being in that room.
Mm-hmm.
But there's also the understanding that we're all one and that we're all connected at all times. And so, yeah, I just started offering them and to be completely honest, when someone comes in and they go through that personal reconnection, I'm 100% sure I can go, hey, man, you're reconnected. This is going to unfold in your life. It will continue to unfold throughout your life. And the quantum calibration, I'm like 99.5% sure it's the same thing. I was like, how can I determine if it is the same thing? You can't. You like, you know what I mean? It's like, so I just.
Well, I'll tell you this. I had a remote Qigong healing, okay, when COVID was going on. And I was having some issues and I said, and she goes, I can do it remotely. I said, you can. And she goes, do you have an issue with that? And I said, I don't think so. So I did it. And I went in there expecting, well, this is just stupid. Like, I'm not going to feel anything. Oh my God.
Yeah.
It was so intense. I mean, I felt it. I knew when I was having like a little pain under my rib cage. And I told her about it. I said, at the beginning, I had this little pain. She goes, wow, you felt that? And I said, what did you do? She goes, I put an energy ball there because I was coming back to your liver, but I was scanning the rest of your body. And I said, ow. And then my arms, just like my arms moved, like it went like this, like, and I was like, I said, did you lift my left arm at one point? She goes, yes, I did. And I said, well, mine lifted. And she goes, Elaine, she goes, you and I are just a good pair, because we've been working together so long. And I've talked to her about this. And she goes, because I had her last night. I said, put your hands together. and she goes, I said, do you feel anything? And she goes, no. Am I supposed to? I said, well, go like this. And then my fingers involuntarily last night started moving. And she goes, what are you doing? And I said, it's a frequency. She goes, what'd that dude do to you? I said, I don't know, but I like it. and she goes, okay, if you get the real deal done, and she goes, you let me know. And I said, yeah, because I know I'm gonna do it. I know I am. Do you still do it in 2 sessions?
Yeah. I mean, it's in my opinion, I'm doing a distance personal reconnection. I mean, like my whole, I'm not allowed to call it that because
I know.
But that's what I'm doing. I mean, I'm just when I do the sessions, in my opinion, you're on that table.
Right.
I just act like you're on that table.
Right. And that's why too, I was so glad when you said, let's Zoom, because I thought if we get to talking and stuff and I just, to get a relationship, you're going to know me. I'm going to, I totally trust you. So I have now I have to admit something. I'm not trying to be Debbie Downer, but I looked up the reconnection. I looked up Eric Pearl and he just didn't do it for me.
Yeah, that's okay.
I was like, nah, I don't
that's
think
okay.
So.
Yeah. We're not going to resonate with everybody, but I mean, we're all different. We have different things that we're drawn to. I will say though, that I travel with those guys for like 3 years and dude's the real deal. Like for real. Like I've been on the table many times with him. And there is just, he's the real deal, man. Like I don't know what to say. I'll never forget one time, this is before I was a teaching assistant. and I volunteered at one of their training seminars just because I wanted to sit in the room, because the rooms at those seminars are they're so jacked up with this frequency. It's like tenfold. It just,
Wow.
like the universe knows these people are coming to be healers, and it's going to make sure that they're a healer when they leave. So I'm sitting there and I'm kind of like, I've already been to a seminar to get trained, and I'm looking, and I kind of know the process. So I am waiting, and I know it's like Eric's turn to like come on stage and do his thing. So I'm like waiting. I'm like, dude, where is that guy? And then I turn around and the dude's standing right behind me. He's like looking at me. I'm like, oh shit, there he is. Oh my God. I had never felt energy in my life ever. I mean, in retrospect, that's not true, but like I've never felt anything like this. And then until I read that guy's book, and I read his book, and then all of a sudden my hands turn into magnets, and my friends start having these crazy sensations, and then my consciousness is expanding at a rate that is almost too much to handle. Like I really felt like I had evolved like 300 years in like 3 months. I mean, like literally, I'm like, oh my God, like what is going on in my life? This is so I look behind me, and he's sitting there, and I was like, oh my God, there he is. And so I'm waiting, and the dude walks up to me, and I'll never forget. He walks up to me and he puts his hand on my shoulder, and he just stands there for like 40 seconds. And I'm like, oh my God, what's he doing? Like, he just had his hand on my shoulder. No eye contact, no nothing. And then just walked up. I started looking around at the people there, and tears started. I felt so much love. It was like, you know, that feeling when you have a child and you're holding that child in your hands, and that's a level of love that it's incomparable to anything else. I'm looking around at these people at this place, and they were like my children. I had so much love for these people. And I remember I'm sitting there and like tears are coming down my eyes, and I'm going like, what the fuck did he just do to me? Like something just happened. And I remember thinking, that's what I want to do to people. I want to be able to make people feel like I'm feeling right now. So, you know, do I want to go hang out with the dude? No. But you know, that's okay.
Well, Christine, my Qigong healer, she I went to a thing that he was, she said, I went to a seminar that he did down in College Park. And I said, did you? She goes, yeah, it was really good. It was, she said, I said, was it on the reconnection? She goes, oh my goodness. She goes, it was like 10 years ago. She goes, but he was there. And she goes, I got a weird feeling from him. Like I didn't, she said, but what he knows, she said, he knows his shit. He knows he knows what he's doing, and he knows. And she said, so she goes, isn't that funny? She goes, we both had the same reaction. And I said, well, I only watched the video. And I was like, and I said, and I was like, I feel so guilty, but I thought he's not going to do it for me. You know, I mean,
no, that's cool. That's totally fine. That's yeah.
Okay.
And I guarantee you, he doesn't care either. Like he's going to be him 100%. I think really all he wants to do is, I feel like I was a master healer, and I'm walking around this planet completely asleep to who I am. Like I have no idea who I really am. I know who I think I am. You know what I mean?
Right.
Golfer, an artist, an entrepreneur. But I didn't really know who I was. And that dude and these frequencies awakened me and reminded me who I am. So now that's my purpose, is to wake people up, to remind all the volunteers. And we need people doing this with all types of personalities, all types of wisdom. I'm not the most articulate person. There's plenty of people that do exactly what I do, and they're very articulate and very professional. But we're doing the same thing. And the universe needs, the variety pack. You know what I mean? And so, you know what I mean? So, yeah. So, yeah, I wouldn't,
Well, and Christine told me, she said, hey, if you get it done, I'll be your dummy. I'll be your mouse or whatever.
Yeah.
And she goes, you can come on out to my studio and I'll lay down the table and you put your hands over me. I said, okay.
Well, you could do that already.
Do you think?
You could. Oh, absolutely. 1,000%, 100. There's not 1,000%, 100%.
Okay.
And it's, I'm not sure how many times I've mentioned this in a video, but I was giving sessions way before I was trained. I was giving sessions basically 3 weeks after I read the book. I was like, I just told my friends, hey man, lay down. And do you know that those first sessions were just as profound as the sessions I give now? So
really?
Oh yeah. There is no training. I mean, it's funny. I say there's no training. There wasn't any training for me, because when you go to learn how to do this, what you're really learning how to do is become present, to become hyper aware, to just to become present, and really to let go of all the baggage, all the beliefs. Like I remember we used to have Reiki grand masters come in, and we'd also have plumbers and architects and electricians come in. The plumbers would actually learn it at least as fast, maybe even faster than the Reiki grand masters, because they had so much knowledge. They had so much wisdom that they had to let go of, a Reiki grand master, they're going to ground themselves, and they're going to use their techniques and the symbols. And do you know, I have so many Reiki masters that come to me for a session, and they all say the same thing. And that is, they've quit using the symbols and they just are using their instinct.
Okay.
And because it's inside us, to borrow Eric Pearl's phrase, all these techniques we've been learning are training wheels to allow us to access an energy to help people. But we don't need those training wheels anymore. We're in a different time. We're in a different consciousness. This is different. This is different. This is new. We're in uncharted territory. So yeah, I think you could go over to her and she would lay down and you would, bring your hand in. And I usually, for some reason, I just start at the head. And I'll just kind of just play with the sensation, and I'll watch their face. It was so funny. I had just, if you're noticing a slight lisp in me, I could notice it. I don't know if you are, but I'm noticing it. I actually chipped my tooth. I chipped my front tooth.
Oh, wow.
And I'm a little insecure about my teeth. I always have been. And so I go to the dentist. And the dentist gave me this insane price for one front tooth. And I was like, dude, I can have all my teeth done in Mexico for the price that, I'm not even kidding you. I not every tooth, but I can get my 4 front teeth done for the price of that. So I'm in Mexico and I'm at the dentist office. And so they're waiting. It was like an emergency. And they're we're kind of waiting for my crowns to get like fixed. And she's like, so what do you do for a living? And I was like, I usually don't tell people because
Right.
I don't want to go into it, man, but I go, I'm like a life coach. And she's like, a life coach? What kind of life coach? And I'm like, well, I'm kind of like, I guess I'm like a healer. I think they call it a Corandejo or so. Anyway, I said, I'm a healer. She goes, what kind of healer? And so I'm like, okay. So I was sitting there on my phone waiting. So I went and do one of my videos where I was giving a session. And I go, this is what I do right here. And she's watching it and she's like, oh my God. And I go, not everybody acts like that. I go, most people, they just 60% of the people, they just lay there. I go, but there are some, similarities. And all of a sudden we start having this amazing conversation about quantum mechanics and quantum physics and like how we're all connected. And she was all over it, man. Like she was like, I think, so what you're saying is she was like talking about Jesus. She goes, it's almost like Jesus was trying to describe this to people who were incapable of understanding it. And I'm like, exactly, dude. Exactly. And she goes, damn, I wish I could get a session. And I'm like, well, shit, let's do it. So I stand up and I go, just sit there and just close your eyes. And I just brought my hands in. And as soon as I brought my hands in, dude, her eyes go like crazy. She's like, oh my God, I feel it. Oh my God, I feel it. And so I go, just chill, just relax, and I'll do it. And then, so I'm giving her this session and I'm just watching her and she kept talking. I don't, just chill, man, just relax. And her eyes are just going crazy. And she started like, making like small little movements. And then as I'm doing that, I'm like standing back and moving back. And 3 of the Mexican surgeons or dentists and surgeons come walking in the room and they're like, what is going on? And we just like quietly stopped and but I don't know, it's just beautiful. I could just feel, I just knew I was supposed to give her a session. You can just feel when you're just supposed to do it. And earlier I said that I was a master healer, that I was walking around completely ignorant to who I am. When I say a master healer, I'm really a master at stepping aside. You know what I mean?
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like I'm just a master at stepping aside. And like, you said earlier that your Qigong friend, when she gave you a distance session, she like placed a ball of energy like by your liver or something like that, or under your kidney,
under my rib cage. Yeah.
Now, she's way smarter than me. Like, I'm not smart enough to do any of that. I don't even. I have complete faith, complete trust that these frequencies, the intelligence behind this, knows what to do. So, I will never. Focus the frequencies. I will never say, ooh, I feel something in your right knee or your, I'm not that smart.
It seems like it's more like what the reconnection, quantum calibration, whatever you want to call it, is more, it's simple. Like keep it simple, stupid, like, because Qigong, like if I do the training, which I don't think I'm going to do it now, but you learn all the meridians in the body, which is fine. I find that stuff really interesting.
Yeah.
But I love anything to do with, the body and stuff like that. But I'm like, do I want to do this? Is this the way I want to be a healer? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't.
Yeah. Well,
so and I checked out the reconnection, and like the only time they got one in Dallas in April, and I was like, do I want to get a plane ticket and fly to Dallas? You know,
you do.
Really?
Yes, you do.
That's the only one in the United States all year.
You do. You do. I actually just talked to Rob Koning. He's going to be the teacher. I talked to him like 2 days ago, and he actually wanted me to do a video, or, see, that's the thing is, when I was a teaching assistant, I would show up at these seminars and there would be like, I'd be like, okay, man, let's do this. How many people are going to be here? And they'd be like, we got 100. And I'm thinking like, 100? Are you shitting me? There should be thousands of people here. There should be, you should have to be doing this in like 4 different rooms to fit people in, because this is changing the lives of every single person that comes into contact with it. What the hell? Why is there only 100? Because the way I look at it is, if there's 120 million volunteers on this planet right now, and this is just my interpretation, you know what I mean? This is just, there are 15 million beings, consciousnesses that came here to specifically anchor this frequency onto the planet. Like before we came, said, okay, man, this is what I'm going to do. My thing is like, how do we reach the rest? Why aren't we like, why aren't people lined up to do this? I would say go to Dallas. I really would, because you're supposed to do it. If you can feel it this easy and it's making this, what it really does is it's expanding. It's speeding up our evolution. So how you would evolve in the next 10 years, you can speed that up into a week. I'm not even kidding. I'm not even
Wow.
kidding. You know what I mean?
Wow.
Like, but that's what it did for me.
I believe it because my perception of things have changed, you know? And I'm like, wow, I never thought like that before. And it's better, you know? And I'm not as critical. I'm not as judgmental. I'm not, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I know exactly what you mean, because that happened to me too.
Yeah. And it's beautiful. I'm like, that was from 1.5 hour, session that I had.
Yeah.
And so it's amazing to me. I also watched Dolores Cannon, and she talks about the volunteers. Absolutely. And I'm in that group. I think I'm in the first group. And
first or second, because second,
I was born in 59, and I don't know.
Like maybe you're like the precursor, the leading edge to the second group, because the first group didn't have it too easy. You know what I mean? The second group is more relaxed. They're basically here to radiate this frequency out.
No, I've always been type A, uptight, seriously.
Oh, really? Really?
Oh, my goodness. Oh, my goodness. But now I finally, what I've said since, in my later years, I'm like, God, I think I finally grew up. But I've also been searching. Like I always felt like I was looking for something. Yeah. And I'd have friends say, Elaine, what are you looking for? And I said, I don't know, but I'm going to know when I find it.
Yeah. Well, I think you just found it.
Yeah, I think I did, because, I've had friends, some of my friends they're good friends. Some of them are lower vibration, and this stuff, I wouldn't even go there with them. Yeah. It's like
you when you just hang out with them, have lunch, it's working. It's working all the time. And those people, the lower frequency people, probably the people that are in fear, the people that are freaking out, the people that go home, watch the news, they're going to start asking better questions in their life. You're affecting them, even though you're not talking about DNA recalibration. And even though you're not giving them a session, you're affecting them. I swear, I promise you, you're speeding up their expansion of consciousness, which starts with people asking better questions. Because you'll never break out of your programming unless you start asking different questions. because you'll just keep doing the same thing over and over.
I just thought of something, and I'll say this because I think we're coming to the end, but I wanted to tell you one of the experiences I had just this past weekend was with a guy I used to work with. He's an engineer, and everything's black or white. Okay. Mm-hmm. So I told him to look up the film on the Kennedy assassination. We started and he goes, why? And I said, just look it up. I went, who do you remember in the car? And he goes, well, it was Connolly and his wife and Jackie and JFK in the back. I said, yeah, okay, look it up. And he looks it up. He goes, well, they messed with it. I can't believe they did that. I said, that was a film. They can't do anything with it. And he goes, well, what are you suggesting? And I'm like, well, what about
it was Satan?
Yeah, right. But he didn't say like, what are you suggesting? He was definitely, because this guy is black or white. And he goes, well, what are you suggesting? I said, dual realities, parallel universe. And he goes, and he's probably in his mid 70s. He goes, I'm of the belief that just about anything's possible.
Wow, nice.
And he goes, and he looked at me and he goes, we're talking some ancient alien shit here, aren't we?
Nice.
And I said, do you watch that? And he goes, yeah. And so of all the people in the world to even entertain that this could be, he kept watching it. And he just kept watching it. And it's more graphic. Like the whole top of his head
it's crazy. Off. It's not the reality we remember.
He jumped. I mean, he went, oh my God. I said, see what I mean?
Yeah.
You saw a little bit of whatever. And this part, when he goes like this, I'm like, you never saw that. You saw his head go. And I mean, I watched it over and over.
Totally,
and over
me too.
And
did I tell you to watch that? Did I tell you?
No, I found it. No, but the Ed McMahon thing, the Ed McMahon thing's really weird.
Yeah.
And people will argue and say, well, they just took it off the entire internet. I said, how could they do that? I mean, so anyway, funny. Well, they're doing everything these days. Well, I know, he could not get over it. Every time I looked at him, he was sitting there looking at his phone, and I said, Mike, you're going to dream about this tonight. And he goes, and he never curses. And he goes, well, I just can't fucking believe this. Yeah. And I said, and it's a stretch limousine. It's not even the same car, And he goes, yeah. He goes, well, who's driving? I said, Secret Service. He goes, they were running alongside. I know. They're driving the car in this one, and that stuck with me when I first saw it.
It's mind blowing.
I couldn't forget it.
Mind blowing.
Well, now my brother, he's another story. I showed him and he goes, oh, that's bullshit. And that was it. That no conversation, no nothing, even though he saw it. Yep. And I went, yeah, okay. So, that's cool,
because when you expose something to somebody and it's out of their box of beliefs on what's possible and what's not possible, you have to disregard it for your own mental health, or you push on the edges of those boxes and they fall down. So you don't want to take down somebody's box.
No. And I could tell he was freaked out. I mean, it totally blew, and because it blew my mind, but it really didn't scare me. But see, I've always been that person that believed in woo-woo shit.
Yeah, that's because you're a volunteer.
Well, people would say, Elaine, do you live in another galaxy or something? I mean, I've had that said to me, and I'm like, now I'm going to tell them, I think I did.
Yeah.
So, it's just interesting.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
So what did you call for what do you want the session for? You got any questions?
Just to talk to you.
To
talk to you.
Okay.
And let me see. I wrote some stuff down here. Oh, I wanted to tell you. Now, this is before I had learned of your channel or anything. I had a dream it's probably been 2 or 3 months ago. that I was in a spaceship.
Oh, nice. Nice.
It was, and I woke up and I was like, what in the hell? It was like I was in the spaceship. I didn't want to be in the spaceship. And I said to somebody, I said, come here. Where did they take her? And here it was my friend when she was 19, she was killed. And that's who I was talking about. And I have dreamt about her. She used to come to me in my dreams. And then she told me she wasn't coming anymore. And she stopped. So this is the first dream I had about her. And I went into this room and she was there. And I went, there you are. And I went up to her and took her face and I went, I love you. And she was laughing and I woke up. Wow. And I was like, oh,
that's beautiful.
But I was in a spaceship and so was she. And I'm like, there you are. I've been looking all over. It was very strange. So we knew each other in another life, I'm sure.
Yeah.
But, yeah. So just the steps that led me here, are, when I look back, I'm like, oh my God, it's been, the universe is saying it's about time.
Yes. And how you got here was by following your heart, by following what felt right. I mean, it's how we're supposed to live our life. It is.
It's like I said, keep it simple, stupid. We have made things so complicated and so just, the indoctrination of the programming of this is how you're supposed to think. I believe, we have to know the difference between right and wrong. And we do, I think everybody on the planet does. And, sometimes we make bad decisions, but I got a call this week from a job, very good paying job that I had interviewed for before, and I turned them down. I said, no, thanks. It's to go in an office. And I was like, I can't do that anymore. I just can't, and could I use the money? Yeah, I could use the money, but my bills are paid, I look at it that, this too shall pass, it'll move ahead somehow. So, but anyway, I was so shocked when I hung up the phone. I went, I can't believe I just turned that down. And I just started laughing like, oh my God, if they would have called me a year ago, I would have been like, oh yes, I'll come in.
Yeah,
when
sure.
will you be there? Oh, yeah. It's just like, no. Thanks for thinking of me.
Oh, that's awesome.
Anyway. So anyway, I will be in touch with you. I'll schedule. Okay. I'll schedule the quantum thing, and I'm gonna. I guess I'll order the reconnection.
Yeah, you should.
I gotta do because I can't go to Dallas until I do these other things.
Yeah, you got to jump through some hoops, but in my opinion, it's worth it. I mean, I prefer to do it in person, but now that they don't have level 1 in person, the universe knows that. So while you're watching that video, you're going to be inundated, or is it inundated or inundated? Inundated by this frequency. Because the universe is going to go, okay, well, we can't do it now because they don't have level 1 in person. It's like ridiculous. I still think that there should be thousands of people. I think they should do it like every 2 months, and there should be like 1,000 people there. Just like the universe just drawing them like,
right.
Just Richard Dreyfuss in Close Encounters of the Third Kind, just like, I have to be there. Because that's the way I was. I mean, like I had to be there. There was nothing that was going to stop me from going. So. Wow.
Yeah. So I'll get busy. And it says I have to be, I think, reconnected.
I think it's a healing session, and you've already done that. So you're good.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. But to be able to, I think I've been out of the clique for a while, but I think to learn how to reconnect someone, which is like level 3.
Uh-huh.
Then you have to be reconnected. And then, who knows? 5 months from now, they might tell everybody, okay, we're going to do distance reconnect, personal reconnections now, but they're not there yet. So, I think for that, it has to be in person.
Okay.
Yeah. But you're already good to go. But in my opinion, the quantum calibration, for those that aren't going to be like what I do, they just want like a turbo advancement in their life as far as their consciousness, then that's it.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, this conversation was just amazing. Can I post some of this on?
Sure.
Okay.
Sure.
Because you hit all my fun buttons. I mean, this conversation was basically the epitome of everything that I talk about in my videos.
Okay. Yeah.
Like people are going through this rapid expansion, and like they feel more joy in their life, and they have this new ability to feel something that they've never felt before. And even when they go up to their friends that are like master healers, and they're like, hey, check this out. And they're like, oh, dude, what happened to you? Like, what's going on? So yeah, I mean, yeah, you hit all my fun buttons. So this might be my favorite video I've ever put out in my life.
It was fun. Yeah, it definitely. I don't know, something about when I watched your videos and when I talked to you on the phone and then we did the healing, I was like, you and I, we just,
we're family.
Yeah.
We're family.
Yeah. It's weird because I feel like I know you. And
we do know each other.
Yeah, right. And it's like, because I mean, so many times I'm watching your videos and I just howl and laugh because some of the stuff, like the little sentences you put up, sometimes they're serious and sometimes they're just funny. And I just howl. So
cool. Yeah, that's why I do them. Yeah.
Okay. Well, it's been a pleasure. It's really been fun.
I enjoyed every second of it.
Okay. Well, I will be in touch one way or the other. So.
Okay. Sounds good, Elaine.
All right. Take it easy.
Okay. Peace. And so I can post this video?
Yeah, you may.
Okay, cool.
Sure. I said the F word.
Oh, everybody says the F word on my.
Oh, I'm kidding.
Channel.
I don't care. It's going to be amazing if somebody, like people that know me see it, they'll be like, what the hell were you doing?
Yeah, no. Well, when they watch the whole video, they'll probably understand you better. They'll understand why you're so happy.
Yeah, exactly. Okay.
Cool.
Okay. Peace.
If you're looking for some crazy, I'll tell you everybody's standing in a line for the water slide. You can come on over. We can take the